What's up, everyone, and welcome to the very first Bild Media web video. We've done, as I'm sure you know, plenty of articles, plenty of blog posts. We send out lots of emails. I hope you read them. I think they're pretty good. And I've also done a few in-person talks, but this is the first time we ventured out into the web video world, and I think it's something that we're going to start doing regularly. It's a great way to talk to folks, to get the message out there, and to give a piece of content that might be a little bit easier to consume as opposed to an article or an email. So what we're going to talk about today in this first one is a topic that I believe is on a lot of folks' minds, and that's a housing recession, right? It's all over the news. It's all over, magazines, periodicals, The Economist. Everyone's talking about it. It's certainly all over social media, whether we're even in a recession or not. We're not going to jump into that, but we're going to talk about what impact a recession might have on manufactured housing and what we can do to keep our message out there no matter the economic situation that we're in. So let's jump right into this. This first chart that I've got, you guys know I love my charts. This is from Google Trends, right? So obviously everyone knows what Google is. Everyone uses Google. The whole world uses Google. They've got like a 90% market share. So what Google can do is they can look across their platform, they can look across websites, and they can see what people are talking about. They can analyze, search terms. They can look at conversations on social media. They can look at videos, and they can really get a sense of what is trending in the world. And what I searched for here was recession, right? We went back, what is that, almost 20 years to 2004 to look at how the topic of recession was trending across the internet world. What we can see is that there's a lot of interest in it, right? Like you look at the tail end of that graph and it's about as high as it can get. It goes from a scale of 0 to 100, and we just hit 100. There's a little dashed line going now. I think they've are predicting that we've peaked in recession interest and are coming back down. But what you can see is they're back in 2008. Obviously, people are talking about a recession a lot. And then right there before July of 2020, people are obviously talking about it a lot because that was sort of the beginning of the COVID pandemic. And, business is shutting down. Obviously, you're going to be talking about recession if every single brick and mortar business on Main Street has been told to close. So let's look at one more of these Google Trend topics and how it might relate to manufactured housing. So here we've got mobile home interest on Google, and I chose mobile home as opposed to manufactured home because that is the clear front runner and what folks are searching for online. We'll do another video about manufactured home versus mobile home and its interest online, but that's a topic for another day. But for the purpose of this video, we looked at mobile home. This is a way to gauge how much people are talking about mobile homes and manufactured homes online. You can see that, it is trending down at the tail end of that graph, but that's normal, right? Interest every year for the past 20-something years, as long as Google's been doing this, has peaked in late spring, early summer, like May, June, and then always hits the bottom in December every single year. You can see one hiccup there in 2020, when the world fell apart again because businesses were shut down. People weren't looking for manufactured homes, but boom, right back up, so that August of 2020, we're right back where we should be. You see the same thing. Peaks down for December. Obviously, holidays, cold, lots of reasons you're not looking for a new home, and then it just quickly climbs right back up. So early summer, late spring, it's peaking again. And we're doing the same thing. And you can also see that this past year, there has been more interest than there ever has been. So that looks good for us, right? Like people are still searching for mobile homes, for manufactured homes. No matter how often they hear recession or housing crash or market crash or whatever kind of crash that the talking heads on the news want to talk about, folks are still looking for manufactured homes. Here's another graph. I really love these charts. I'll tell you what. Excuse me. This is new single home sales in the U.S. all the way back to 1965. Includes manufactured homes, site-built homes. But what I want to show you here is that in the absolute worst housing market, that 2009, 2010, right after the housing crash, and look at that boom, that's crazy, right? Look at that, 2006, 2007, it was selling, 1.5 million homes per month, much more than we need. That's why it crashed, right? So But if we look at that crash, if we look at the very bottom of the line there, right around 2010, 2011, there are still 300,000 homes per year being sold. So even in the worst housing market ever that will not be repeated, because we've got a lot of safeguards in there in terms of lending, homes are still being sold. Millions of homes per year are still being sold. And the point I want to make with that is that there is never a time in history when there's not been an opportunity to sell a home, right? Like even in 2009, 2010, there were still people. Those people still needed a house to live, and they needed a person to buy a house from. So as you hear this talk about recession, and we talk about housing market crash, which I don't think there will be, but you're going to hear about it. Just remember that even in the worst housing market in history, there's still tremendous opportunity. Millions of people are still buying a new home. So let's drill into that a little bit more. We're in North Carolina. I'm sitting in North Carolina right now. So let's talk about opportunity in this state. I know a lot of you all are probably not in North Carolina, but when I look at analysis like that for other states, it all looks the same. So on this graph, another one of my graphs, what we've got is an analysis of home sales in 2021. So the blue lines are site-built homes, and the orange lines are manufactured homes. And how this graph is divided up is the number of homes sold in different income brackets, right? So each vertical line represents a $10,000 sort of income bracket. So let's look at that $60,000 one right in the middle. So the blue line is 18,000 homes were sold to people in 2021 that made $60,000 a year. And that's rounded, right? It's like 60 to 70,000. We can, in that little orange line way down there, we can see that about 1,000 manufactured homes were sold in 2021 to people that made $60,000 per year. Obviously, we know more site-built homes are sold than manufactured homes. However, what this graph indicates is that even in our peak income bracket, right, in North Carolina, that's $40,000 to $50,000 a year, our peak income bracket, where we know the manufactured home that the buyer can purchase making $40,000 to $50,000 a year, is vastly superior than the site-built home they can buy if they're making $40,000 to $50,000 a year. Even in that income bracket, we have got a lot of room to grow. Because look at that graph. Find 40,000 at the bottom. That orange line indicates that just under 2,000 homes, 2,000 manufactured homes were sold to people making $40,000 a year. However, 14,000 site-built homes were sold to people making $40,000 a year in North Carolina. And keep in mind, this is the same in every single state. I could look at Texas. I could look at New York. I could look at Montana. I could look at Tennessee. I could look at California. And wherever you go, the biggest income bracket for manufactured housing is still a tiny fraction of the site-built homes sold in that same income bracket. And we know, like I said earlier, that a $120,000 house, which is about what those folks can afford, $120,000 to $140,000, a $120,000 manufactured home is vastly superior to a $120,000 site-built home. Right, we know that. Go to Zillow. Go find a $150,000 site-built home in North Carolina, especially in some of the suburban areas, and see if it's better than a $120,000 manufactured home. It's not. I've looked in every state. Same across the board. So what that means is that there is tremendous opportunity to triple the home sales and manufactured home sales in North Carolina and still not even be more than half of home sales in that income bracket. So what that means is, again, like I said, we've got a lot of opportunity. Even if the housing market was cut in half, we could still grow manufactured housing in our ideal income bracket by 100x, 500x, many, many, many times. So let's look at things you all can do, right? We've proved there's opportunity in recessions, in big markets, small markets, everything else. There's lots of opportunity out there. So I'm going to give you 3 things that you can go do today to help you sell more homes in your market, no matter what the economic climate looks like. So let's first look at Google reviews. I hate to be a negative Nancy here, but I looked for mobile home dealers in Florida. Again, that's what folks are looking for. Mobile home dealers near me is the biggest search term for any of the websites we manage, right? So I look for mobile home dealers in Florida. This is what I got: Normandy Mobile Home Sales, Uncle Roy's Mobile Home Sales, and Mobile Homes USA. 3 great dealers, I have no doubt. But the problem here is their reviews. We've got a 3.6, a 3.6, and a 3.9. Again, I have no doubt that these are great retailers. I'm sure they sell lots of homes, and they have lots of very happy customers. The problem is that those happy customers are not telling the internet world, the Google review world, how happy they are. So obviously, you can't run a successful business if most of your customers are unhappy, even if half of your customers are unhappy. And again, I have no doubt that these 3 dealers have many, many, many very happy customers. I'm sure most of their customers are very, very happy. They love their home, and they have a nice place to live, and they're very happy with their retailer. But what we've got to do as an industry is, and this starts at the dealer level, is we've got to ask our customers to leave us some good reviews, right? If I'm unfamiliar with manufactured housing and I live in Florida, I'm like, hey, let's find some mobile home dealers in Florida. Let's go buy a manufactured home in Florida. I'll look this up. I'll see these 3. This is what pops up. I'm like, yeah, maybe this isn't a house I want to buy, right? Maybe this isn't an industry I want to dip my toe in and see if it's a house for me, because how could it be any good if all of these retailers, if all these people near me selling them, people were mad at them, right? I mean, you can go through there. There's plenty of good reviews, but there's a lot of pissed off people. So what we've got to do as an industry is make a conscious effort, make a deliberate effort to ask our customers to leave good reviews. And that's what you've got to do at your dealership. That can be a text message, that can be a phone call, but it's got to be a conscious effort. If you don't do anything, most of your reviews are going to be bad, right? Like most, if let's think about things you've purchased, right? If it goes well, you're like, that was good. I like that. You might tell your spouse, you might tell your kids, you might tell your friends, yeah, this is nice. But you're not going to take the effort to go online and leave a Google review. If you buy something that's a piece of junk, you are much, much, much more likely to get online and leave a review. However, what we found with our retailers that we work with on these reviews, and in the business world in general, if you ask a happy customer to leave a review, 8 times out of 10 they will. So what you need to do when you sell a home is you just need to text up your customer, send them an email, say, hey, Mr. Customer, I hope you're enjoying your new house. I need to ask you a quick favor. Would you please go on Google, leave me a good review, tell the world about your experience. I'm a locally owned business. I compete with a lot of corporate entities, and these Google reviews really help me stand out, in the online world. And then say, if there's something going on, if you're not as happy as you'd like to be, please just give me a call at this number, and I'll do everything I can to make it better. And that's it. All you have to do is ask. And when you send that out, if they're happy, which I'm sure they are, they'll leave you a good review. If there's something they're unhappy about, they'll give you a call, right? Because most unhappy customers, they don't want to go leave a scathing review. They just want to vent. And if they have another way to vent as opposed to leaving an online review, they'll just give you a call and do that. So let's talk about pricing. Everyone needs to put their price online. They just do, right? If you don't have your prices on your website, you need to put them on there. We work with a lot of retailers. We've worked with a lot of folks that were very resistant to putting their prices online. But when they did, their leads went up significantly, 2 to 3 times, right? Like, it's not like they got 100 leads and they got 102 per month when their prices were on there. They got 100 and they probably went to about 200 with the same amount of web traffic. And it makes sense, right? We advertise affordable housing. We talk about how affordable our homes are, how great they are, what a great value they are. But then people go online and they say, how do I know this is a great value? I don't have a price. It looks nice, but you can't determine affordability or value without a price. And because housing and purchasing a new home is such a stressful experience, a lot of folks are not going to dip their toe into that water if they don't know the price beforehand, right? They don't want to get excited about a product and call the retailer, go visit them in person, just to find out that product is way out of their price range. We know that's not true because most people can afford a manufactured home, but new buyers don't know that. All they know is that they've probably been burned before. They've been frustrated with pricing before. They've thought they liked something and found out it was too expensive. And so they're not even going to engage with a brand if they think that it might be too expensive for them. So what we're doing is we're showing people how nice the houses are, but by not showing the price, we're not showing them how affordable they are. We're not showing how much value is in a manufactured home. We can say affordable and high value and everything else on our website as much as that we want, but if we don't show the price, no one's going to believe us. So what I've got here is 3 examples of retailers that put price on their site. These are 3 very successful retailers, sell lots and lots of houses, certainly know what they're doing. So I think it might be worth giving it a shot, right? Maybe if you're not ready to put a price right up there, maybe you put a price range. Maybe you put a starting in the 100,000s or something to that effect. But give it a shot. See what happens. Look at your website traffic. Look at it now. Look how many leads you're getting per traffic, like a ratio, and then put pricing and see how much it goes up. I guarantee it'll go up. And finally, let's look at this quote from a Salesforce article that I read. And it says it takes an average of 8 touches to get an initial meeting or the conversion with a new prospect. Okay, so what that means is, and we sent out an email about this a few days ago, is that to sell homes, to sell anything, you've got to be patient and you've got to be persistent. Okay, so if you get a web lead in from your newly published home price and you call them once, you're like, that web lead's no good. That's not going to work. You got to call them 5-6 times. You got to text them a few more times. You got to email them a few times, and then you got to call them again and call them again and maybe call them again. And honestly, I got some good advice a while ago, and it's that, I said, well, when do we stop contacting a lead? And the answer was, you stop contacting them when they ask you to stop contacting them, right? So as we're in this internet world, folks are getting blown up from every single angle, and you've got to be the loudest voice in the crowd. You've got to be patient because it's going to take a lot of times, and you got to be persistent. You got to keep calling, keep texting until they tell you not to. Well, and that's all I got for this first video. I hope you liked it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe the video. If you're watching this on our website, please scroll all the way down to the bottom, subscribe to our newsletter if you haven't already. If you liked anything you saw, please give me a call, shoot me an email. We do lots of things for retailers and lenders and manufacturers and insurance companies, all within the manufactured housing industry. So if you ever need any help with advertising or marketing, please let me know. And until next time, I will see you then.